Hello, hello. We are going to get started. Sorry about the delay. We ended up having um, a little bit of issues signing in here, but I think we are good. I'm just going to make sure everybody can hear me. Okay, perfect. Just got word that everybody can hear me. I'm Ashley Faulkner. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If this is your first time on the webinar, welcome. We try to do these a couple times a month. With a lot of what's going on right now, it's kind of picked up a little bit more. We're trying to do some different things just to keep things fresh for everybody, but also with COVID-19, obviously there's a lot of things that are changing daily, so we will probably try to mix in some good information there, or really just recaps on what's going on with everything and all the fun changes. So we'll go ahead and get started. So for those of you who don't know me, I am one of the owners of our Colorado location. So if you're tuning in from everywhere, I've seen our registration list, and there's clients all over. So welcome. I'm so glad everybody could join us. Today, we're going to go over some additional services and really just Journey's services in general. It's a high level. This is a mini webinar. For those that haven't attended before, mini webinars are designed to be 10 to 15 minutes max. It's just going over everything, making sure that you guys kind of have the latest and greatest. Our normal webinars sometimes run 15 minutes, sometimes run 30 minutes, sometimes run an hour. So we're trying to be mindful of everybody's time, but we feel like this is the best way to kind of get everything out there, is shorten the webinars a bit just to help push out the information that we need, and then dive in more on specifics later. So with that, let's get started. One of the questions we get a lot at Journey is, what are the services that you guys might have that we may not be aware of? And so we want to take the approach of, let's pretend Journey, we're going over this with people for the very first time. You guys may know or have heard of some of these things. You guys may not have heard of these things. And so I think it's really important that we get this information out there, and then obviously you guys can reach out to us with questions. So you can reach out to your payroll specialist at any time if you feel like there's a service on here that quite possibly you weren't taking advantage of that you want to. But there's also, you can reach out to me. There's some contact info on the last screen, so feel free to take a picture or write that down when we get there. So some of our newer services we have rolled out, which we think is really important, especially right now. So it's always an important topic to go over, but especially now with everything going on, the EAP, or Employee Assistance Program that's rolled out, I think is something that is so beneficial that it would be silly for people not to take advantage of it. Employee assistance programs help employees handle personal and professional problems. So while we might have employees that come into the workplace and we think everything's fine, right? We think that their home life is fine. We think that their work life is fine. We think that they're just totally normal and nothing's going on. But what we don't realize is that a lot of people close off or shut down to things when there are other issues going on. So I don't always know what's going on. I could meet somebody at the store and they just seem grumpy. Or I could go to the office and somebody seems off. Well, maybe they're just having a bad day, but maybe there's other things going on that they're not going to come out to us and say, hey guys, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I have going on. Because a lot of people, it's hard for them to voice that, but it's also, maybe it's not the place to do it at work. Maybe they don't feel comfortable saying, hey, I'm struggling financially, because is that going to scare their employer? Is that going to scare employees? Are they a flight risk at that point? Are they going to leave? So I think it's just important to know that everybody handles things so differently, and everybody goes through different things at different times. And an employee assistance program opens up some options for them to get the help that they need without having to feel like they need to tell us about it necessarily. So some of the areas that are covered, emotional well-being. So especially right now with everything going on, people are not okay. And it's okay not to be okay. I think that people need to understand that somebody struggling with, not feeling comfortable with everything that's going on, being afraid to normalize to a new normal, being afraid, wearing a mask, there's a lot of people that wearing a mask is hard and they don't, it makes them feel uncomfortable. It makes them feel like, they're weird or whatever the case may be. That's an emotional feeling that somebody is going through. And whether they're outwardly saying, hey, I'm struggling with this, or they keep it inside, they need to be able to let that go somehow. So emotional well-being, I think, is a big one, especially now. It's a big one in general. We all know that. We've seen the statistics. This is not something that's never been present, but I think more than anything now with everything going on with COVID-19, it definitely is to the forefront. Relationships. So whether that's at home, people struggling with their relationships at home or struggling with relationships in the workplace. Parenting. Parenting can be hard. Anybody out there that's a parent knows parenting is tough. It's a tough deal. So having, an outlet per se, or somebody to go to, or in a program that can kind of help give you some options or outlets to help deal with that is huge. Health and wellness. Again, this goes back to not only that emotional, but emotionally, everything that you go through can play a big part in your health and wellness. Financial education. People that just maybe are struggling with their finances a little bit, or how do I stay on budget? How do I even get a budget, right? How do I set up a budget? There's a lot of things that some people just aren't comfortable with or familiar enough with to say, hey, I know exactly what I'm doing here and I feel confident. So financial education is big. Counseling. Counseling is the greatest thing. I think people miss out on a big opportunity having somebody to talk to that they can kind of verbalize and vocalize things with that can help to give them options for how to handle something when you're feeling a certain way. So I think counseling is a huge part, and there's so much more in this that is covered and a part of it. So please feel free to reach out to your payroll specialist, your local office, to get some more information on this, because I think this is something that, now, again, like I'll say it 100 times now, more than ever with everything going on, I think it's just such a big thing to have. A learning management system. So a platform for employee training, an easier and more cost-effective way to train employees, certifications, compliance, safety, tons of different things. So really kind of diving into our learning management system and just figuring out how to get that information and pass it along to your staff too. Popular additions and some client favorites too, labor law posters. This has been such a big industry change. So if you follow all of our stuff that we send out, which I hope you guys are, and if you're not and you're not signed up for it, make sure you reach out to your payroll specialist. But labor law posters are a big deal right now, and especially with this workforce, or a lot of the workforce working remotely now and working from home, this has never been a bigger thing. I'm at home. I know half of our office is working remotely. I know a majority of our clients are also figuring out this working remote thing, whether it's part of their staff or all of their staff. And it's kind of adapting and overcoming, right? It's been a big thing for us. I'm a very bubbly, outgoing people person. So for me, this has been a challenge. It's been very different to be at home, but it's also taught me a lot of, figuring some stuff out as well, and how to just work differently, and you change your efficiencies. But with that comes compliance, right? It's not just about somebody's working from home. It's about how do I make sure that they still know what are their options? Where do they go to reference a labor law poster? How do they know that they're in compliance? And so, again, if you follow our resource page on our website for all of the COVID-19 information, there is a work from home bulletin that was posted as well. And it's got some really good information in it. So I encourage you, if you don't have that, get that from our website, journeypayroll.com. And then what you'll also want to make sure you do is enter or upload that into your Hub. So again, let's go back to the basics of using Hub, because whether your employees are at the office or they're at home, Hub is there. Hub is everywhere. Anywhere that they can log into a computer is where they'll find Hub. So being able to post something like that into their Hub account so that they have access 24/7 is vital at this point. However, we also have some different options for labor law posters. Earlier this year, late last year, early this year, you guys probably remember receiving an email regarding packaging and kind of what we've done to structure things a little different. One of the options is to move yourself from the better package to the plus package. And the plus package guarantees that anytime there is a change to the labor law posters, you will automatically get a copy mailed to you with any change. So it doesn't matter if you just received a poster and a week later they update something, they'll send you a whole brand new poster to post up. Most often, that's not something that's mailed out every single time. And you'll remember that from years past. When you get your labor law posters at the beginning of the year, that's your labor law poster. Any changes that happen throughout the year, you get a notification from HR 360, which is included in your online payroll. And that is what you print out and post up with your poster. A couple years ago, I remember there were so many changes to the law at once that it was like all these 8.5 by 11s up on the poster in our print room. So, if you want to keep going that route, you can. But moving to the plus package, and again, contact your payroll specialist if you either need to know what your package is that you're on now, or you want to make sure you're on that plus package. It guarantees you a new labor law poster that's laminated. Anytime there is an update, you'll get a brand new one. You pull the other one down and slap this one back up. So if you're questioning, or if that's a big deal for you, which it really is for a lot of people right now, make sure you reach out to your payroll specialist on that. Background screenings. So we do background screenings for all of our employees internally, which I think is just such a great thing to do regardless of what people are working on. But there are certain industries that it is not something that you can get around, and ours is one of them. We do significant background checks on all of our employees, given what they handle. But we have a lot of clients that come to us and say, hey, I just want to be able to run a background check. What's the best site? What's the best place to go to? And some of our clients don't know that we have a service like this. We don't run the background check ourselves. We do party with a company. We do have a third-party company that we work with that offers that, but it's right through our website. So you can go to our website, click on background screening, or screening, I believe is what it is, and you'll go through the registration process. All you have to do is register. It does not cost you a monthly fee to sign up for this. It does not cost you a registration fee. You only pay every time you run a background check. And it can be packages. So they have some in there that are packages, and you can go through the different packages and say, yes, this fits, the check I want to run. You can also a la carte options. So there's times that you can say, hey, I just want to pick and choose a couple different things. Or I really like this package, but I also kind of like a couple of these other little things that I'd like to run as well. So you can a la carte it as on top of a package, you can a la carte it, or you can just a la carte your options. So there's a lot of different things, and it's a big thing I think people miss out on, and or unfortunately don't catch until after the fact. So I always tell people, even if you're running just a basic one, it's not a bad idea. So background screenings are a big one that I think clients miss out on. Workers' comp, pay as you go. Everybody has to have workers' comp, right? Anybody that's on this call right now that has employees, the importance of workers' comp. Pay as you go. If you're not currently taking advantage of pay as you go for work comp, you absolutely should. If you work with a current broker, ask them about it. If you have no idea, you work with the company direct and you want to work with our partner to get some options and have somebody broker the different carriers for you, reach out to me and let me know. I'll make you an introduction right away. The nice thing with pay as you go, the annual audit that you get when you have workers' comp, they're basically, when you sign up for workers' comp, they're basically saying, here's what we estimate your annual amount to be. And so you write them a check for that, and throughout the year, you're running payrolls, and then your audit comes around and they say, give us all of your payroll reports because we need to make sure that we're still in line with what we charged you. Now, once you give them your payroll reports, which you then need to make sure that either you're keeping track of or you log into your portal to obtain, once you get those to the work comp company, they can either come back and say, ooh, looks like we undercharged you and you owe us X, or, oh, we overcharged you and we owe you money. Either way, it's not a fun thing, right? It's not fun to say, oh, you guys held on to my money all year, or, you know, now all of a sudden I have to write you a check for more. And that can be unexpected. It's an unexpected expense sometimes. So with the pay-as-you-go, when you sign up under our company that we use to do that and facilitate that, we send them a copy of your payroll reports automatically each time you process payroll. Once they get a copy, they debit your account for the exact liability. So it's based off of your exact payroll reports. They debit no more, no less. And then come renewal time, your audit is nothing. It's, you know, they might have a couple other things that they're checking, but it's not nearly as in depth as it is on a traditional work comp policy. So if you are not currently taking advantage of pay-as-you-go, I would strongly suggest that you look into it, because I think it is such a big thing that is overlooked a lot of times. Some more client favorites, time clock. So we have a lot of different options. Hub accounts, so all those hub accounts that everybody should have. If you don't have a hub account, let me know, or let your payroll specialist know. Hub accounts have a time clock option. So there are not only those, though, we have physical time clocks as well. So there is literally an option for every single client and every single need that you might have. So whether it's, hey, my staff is working remote now and I just need them to be able to clock in online. Perfect. We can turn it on in Hub and it's a super easy deal. Clock in, clock out. We also have digital time clock, meaning let's say I work for the day, and at the end of the day, I go in and enter my time. Or at the end of the week or the end of the pay period, I go in and enter my time. So there's that option as well. They're super cost effective and convenient online time clock options. I cannot tell you how many times we get clients that turn in paper time cards, and you don't have to do that. That is not something that you guys have to be utilizing. So especially now, right? Because if your workforce is, if your staff is working from home and they're writing their time on a time card and then they're having to somehow get that to you, they're taking a picture, they're trying to figure out how to scan it and email it. It's just crazy. So I think this is a huge opportunity for a lot of people that might be using paper time cards. But there's also those physical time clocks. So if you need, you know, people that actually have, you capture a fingerprint for, or a hand, weird, very crazy looking, but you know, a handprint, voice options to prevent buddy punching. So we hear it all the time. You know, I think my staff is buddy punching. I think that I've got a couple that might be buddy punching. Let's get rid of it, right? Biometrics is huge. And so there's options for that as well. And there are a ton of other options too. If we would probably need a webinar just to go over the physical time clock options. So please feel free to reach out. Again, my contact info will be at the end of the slide, but reach out if you're kind of thinking that maybe adding some time clock might be a good thing for you guys, and you want to explore some options. No matter what platform you're on, web, physical, time clock, no matter what it is, there's always a manager approval. That prevents, you know, us running payroll with a bunch of time entries that aren't correct. So it protects both you guys and us. So there's always manager approval before submitting. HR Now, man, if you are not taking advantage of the free HR Now, I really strongly encourage you to do it. Reach out to your payroll specialist if you have any questions on what this is. HR Now is a resource. It's unlimited phone and email support for HR related questions. Please feel free to take advantage of it if you're not already. You have access to your HR 360, which is great. It's through your online portal. HR Now is a great option as well, especially for people that want that phone or email support. But if you're one of those that says, boy, those are great options, but I need somebody local. I need somebody in-house. I need somebody that can come in and sit with me and my staff, and or just be there if I need them. And I like the idea of local. All you have to do is reach out to me. I will make an introduction to a very trusted resource that we have here in town. And there's no paying for this ad, but my good gals over at Simply HR are wonderful. So I will make an email introduction should you ever need any sort of referral to them as well, because I know they work very well with a lot of our clients too. So please reach out if you have any questions on that kind of stuff, especially in this day and age. It is so important to have somebody, right? A resource of whatever caliber. And that's why we want to make sure that we have you covered with anything that works for you specifically. And then some additional options. So team loyalty. So it's great to always kind of check in with your employees, get a gauge on where they're at, right? And now more than ever, people working from home, your staff is divided, you know, some are at home, some may be in the office. It's really good to make sure that you constantly have a pulse on how everything is going. And then, you know, obviously hub accounts, if people are not set up with hub accounts, the loyalty does not work. So just make sure everybody is set up for that. 401k. If you need any sort of introduction to anybody with some 401k plans, or just a good resource to go over, you know, how that works, we'd be happy to get you in touch with a couple different, you know, resource partners that we have. And so if you're not currently taking advantage of that, definitely reach out. EEO1 reporting, our platform makes it a breeze for what you need, for the files that you need. So just reach out to your payroll specialist should you have any questions specific to those. ACA tracking, clients over 50. So if you fall on that 50 full-time equivalent employee count, you'll need to be reporting for ACA tracking. So just make sure that if you aren't sure if you're taking advantage of the right thing, if you should be taking advantage of it and you're currently not, let's talk, let's get you set up, let's get you the information that you need. Your broker can also help you decide whether this is something that you need to sign up for or not. So just let us know and we can most certainly get you going on that. And then WOTC tax credits. So it's an integration in our system, and it's really nice because it's actually something that is turned on through paperless onboarding. And what's really cool about it is it will help capture any credits that you might be eligible for based on the employees that you're hiring. So if you're unfamiliar with WOTC, most certainly do some research on it and look it up, because you could be missing out on a big opportunity for some tax credits. And that WOTC in our system, and again, that is already part of onboarding. It's just something we can turn on for you. So if it's something that you're thinking, hey, we might be eligible for this, and I'd like it turned on, reach out to your payroll specialist so they can get that turned on, and then help to see if you're hiring, you know, eligible employees for those tax credits. So hopefully that kind of helps wrap up some of the additional options as well. And again, these are designed to be shorter. I did go a little over than what I kind of thought, but hopefully some really good information for everybody. Hopefully everybody got out of that at least what's there and what's available. And if you're not currently taking advantage of it, my information is up on the screen. Please do not call that phone number. Please just email me. I'm not working at the office, and forwarding seems to be a little tricky right now. So the easiest way to get a hold of me, just email me at my email address there on the screen, and I will most certainly reach out and give you my cell phone number as well. But you can also reach out to your payroll specialist. So our payroll specialists are working, they're working around the clock, they're busting their booties to get everything done for you guys. So please feel free to reach out to them too, should you have any questions on your current options, your current services, and what you might also want to start looking at. So I will look to see, it looks like we do maybe have a question. Quite possibly. If you have a question, you can type it in that the question box too. That might be easier. I see a hand raised, but unfortunately, I just don't have the option to know what any questions are. So if you have a question, feel free to type it in that box. Otherwise, like I said, just shoot me an email, and we can most certainly go over anything specific to your business. So with that, I will go ahead. I don't see any questions, so I will go ahead and wrap up. I hope you all are doing well. I hope everybody is staying healthy. To all of you that are homeschooling your kiddos as well as working, kudos to you, hats off to you. I know it's been a challenge, but if there's one thing I have learned, it's that we will all get through this together, and we'll come out of this stronger. So thank you all so much for dedicating some time today to this. And again, reach out if you have any questions. I hope you all have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend.